Hello, friends. Since today is Valentine's Day, I thought we would have a little fun. We are going to celebrate by talking about 12 plants that have love written all over them. And not only do they have cute little cheeky names for Valentine's Day, but they are really amazing plants in your garden. So come on with me, grab your gardening journal, get nice and comfy, and let's sit down and talk about some fun love themed plants for our gardens. These 12 plants include something for everybody, from annuals to shade-loving perennials to camellias to roses. So there's literally going to be something for everybody in all growing zones. Because if you can't have a sense of humor and embrace the fun of gardening, then what is the point? So here we go. All right. First of all, fall in love sweetly anemone. Now, this is such a beautiful anemone. Anemones, of course, are going to be perennials. And the reason that you're going to want to have a fall in love sweetly is because, like most anemones, they are going to be give you beautiful fall color. The fall in love sweetly is going to be really unique because it has a gorgeous double bloom. Beautiful, like a really rich pink. Now, this is going to be for folks who live in zones 4 to 8, part to full sun. As I always tell you, if you're in the cooler zones 4, 5, 6, you absolutely can do full sun. If you're in a zone 7 or 8, maybe try to give it a little bit of a break in the afternoon so it doesn't get intense sun all day. I actually have the exact opposite. So I have Fall in Love Sweetly at the garden center, and it is pretty much in the shade until the end of the day where it gets full hot sun and it thrives and does well. This is going to be about 2.5 feet tall and wide, including the flower blooms. So if it's not in bloom, it's going to be a nice little lovely mound to it. If you're familiar with Japanese anemones, and then you may say, well, they spread like crazy and they're super invasive. Not Fall in Love Sweetly. While it will spread, it is not going to overtake your garden. I've had my clump for probably 6 years, and it is a lovely little stand, but not at all invasive. So Fall in Love Sweetly, you're going to want this for those late blooms that produce on these like kind of these tall spikes. Gorgeous. You will love it. And then next, this is such a cutie patootie. This is Superbells Double Smitten Pink. Because on Valentine's Day, aren't you just smitten with someone? I hope you are. And so this, of course, is going to be an annual. Your Superbells are your Calibrachoas. Now, we've talked about this before. Your Calibrachoas do really well in well-draining soil. And Smitten Pink is such a cutie patootie. It has that double pink bloom on it where it is more on the outside is more of a nice lighter pink, and then in the center is a really nice deep rich pink. It is going to be about 12 inches tall by 2 feet wide. Of course, your Superbells are going to trail. So if you have it in a container, a hanging basket, a hay rack, a pot, you name it, this is going to be your spiller in that kind of combination. And of course, you could absolutely do it as a monoculture, meaning that it is, you maybe have multiples of these plants in one container, but that's all you have. It makes a huge impact. So your Superbells, like I said, do best in well-draining soil. So for me, with clay soil, they don't do well in the landscape. If you have more sandy soil or soil that really drains quite well, then you could probably put your Superbell Double Smitten Pink in the landscape. Now, as a little side note, today is the last day online that because of Valentine's Day, or in honor of Valentine's Day, we have 15% all off of your pink, red, and white annuals. So Valentine's kind of day special. All of the red, pink, and white annuals are 15% off. It ends tonight, February the 14th at midnight. And if you will use the code PLANTLOVE in all caps, then you will get 15% off your red, white, and pink annuals. Annuals only, my friends. All right, next, going back to the fun things. All right, Gold Heart Bleeding Heart. If you are not familiar with Dicentra, then you are missing out on a classic, iconic spring flowering perennial. Now, Gold Heart brings a little bit of a different spin to the bleeding hearts in the fact of it has beautiful chartreuse color. So the foliage is this really vibrant yellow chartreuse color to it, but yet it still has the traditional bleeding heart blooms that hang down underneath the stems. This is has a nice wide range as far as hardiness in zones 4 to 8. And this is going to be more for your shade garden. Cooler zones, you absolutely can get away with more sun. Warmer zones, then you need to put it in shade. I actually have my bleeding hearts in like true shade. And y'all, these things are gorgeous. When they bloom in early spring, it is such a welcome sight. Now, your gold heart is going to be about 30 inches tall with the flowers and about 36 inches wide. So again, over time, it will spread, not invasive. Your mound just gets bigger. Now, for my warmer folks people, I always like to tell you this when you're looking at Dicentra bleeding hearts, that does love the cool environment. So it's literally going to be one of the very first things that is going to come up and show growth and then bloom as far as your perennials in your spring garden. Because it loves it really cool, when we hit our heat in July and August, your bleeding hearts are going to begin to go dormant. It looks like they're dying. They are not. So they will put on all those classic signs that they're dying. So it starts to turn like a yellowish brown. You think, oh my gosh, it's dead. What am I going to do? What you're going to do is just cut it to the ground and leave it alone. They're like, it's too hot. I can't handle it. It's been a great year. I'll see you in the spring. And they always come back bigger and better than ever. Now, if you're like, well, I love the idea of a bleeding heart, but I don't really have any shade. What am I going to do? Well, what do they say? A girl's best friend, or diamonds are a girl's best friend? Well, let me introduce you to white diamonds. Yes. So white diamonds Dicentra is still a bleeding heart, has a completely different look to it because it is a fern leaf Dicentra. So you will notice that the foliage on it looks completely different than Gold Heart. Obviously, the color is different. It's a nice, rich, deep green. We'll have pure white flowers because it is white diamonds after all. And this is going to be more for the sun garden. So white diamonds is hardy in zones 3 to 9. It's also going to be smaller, 16 inches tall, 18 inches wide, part to full sun. If you're in zones 7B, 8, 9, then you're probably want to give it a break from the hot afternoon sun. Zones 3 through 7A, slap it in the full sun, you should be good. The one thing that you may want to know about Gold Heart is it reminds me of like the Superbells, in the fact of it does not do well in damp, wet areas. Again, completely different than the Gold Heart, which loves those moist areas. So your white diamonds is, if you have clay soil like I do, then put it in a container. Can you put perennials in containers and leave them for years? Yes, you can. So absolutely. So if you have a spot in your garden and you're like, man, this would be a great spot for white diamonds, but you have clay soil, just get a good sized pot. You can, I don't know, 2-3 gallon size decorative container that is weatherproof and can stay out all year. Plant it, put it in the landscape where you want it, because of course you can incorporate your containers into landscapes. It brings different colors and textures and height to it. So white diamonds, a beautiful white bleeding heart for the more sun area in your garden. And then we have heartstrings. That's right, my friends. Valentine's Day, we are pulling at the heartstrings. So this is Designer Threads Heartstrings Coreopsis. Now, Coreopsis, again, fantastic, old-timey, wonderful perennial. This is going to be back into the sun garden. So your Coreopsis, this is going to be a little bit different. With heartstrings, it is hardy in zones 5 to 9, like I said, full sun, and yes, all day, full sun, even in zones 8 and 9. It's going to be about 22 inches tall and about 24 inches wide. So this is a thread leaf Coreopsis. Very, very fine foliage on it. You're not going to notice the foliage because you're going to be looking at those gorgeous flowers that cover the entire thing. So these flowers on Heartstrings is going to have more of a deep pinky red center, and then the outside edges of those flowers are going to be like a creamy white. It is a beautiful addition to the garden. And the great thing about Coreopsis is that it basically, once it starts blooming, it does not stop. It just keeps going all season. That's one thing we hear at the garden center, like, I want a perennial that has continuous blooms. And sometimes, honestly, that can be quite hard to find because there is a season that they bloom, 4 to 6 weeks, and then they're done. Not with the Heartstrings Coreopsis. It is a beautiful, very light and airy habit to it. I actually have this paired with some phenomenal lavender behind it, and when those two are blooming, it is absolutely gorgeous. So pull at your heartstrings and add one to your garden. Now, Queen of Hearts. That's right, Queen of Hearts Brunnera. This is going to be a beautiful shade perennial that if you suffer from deer and rabbits, munching along in your shade garden, try Brunnera. So Queen of Hearts is going to have beautiful heart-shaped leaves on it. A nice kind of a beautiful green that has a silver overlay to it. And these are going to be nice big leaves to them. Queen of Hearts is hardy in zones 3 to 8, and it is for that full to part shade garden. It will be 16 inches tall and 32 inches wide. Have a nice, more mounded habit to it. In the early spring, it will send up spikes of these very delicate true blue flowers. Yes, it really is going to be blue. Little flowers. Pollinators, your honeybees absolutely love it. Now, it is going to be deer and rabbit resistant because it has a very fuzzy, hairy texture to it. And so you absolutely can touch it. It's not going to do anything to you, but you'll notice that it does have quite a texture to it. And those deer and rabbits tend to leave this alone. If you're not familiar with Brunnera, I want you to think of it like a hairy hosta, right? So it behaves just like a hosta in that it loves those shadier areas, mounded habit to it. In the wintertime, mine will go, even in a zone 8, will go completely away. So it's completely herbaceous, dies completely back, but it comes up in early spring and it's beautiful. So it does pair really well with your hostas, your bleeding hearts, your ferns, all of those shade-loving perennials. Queen of Hearts will be a great one and a completely different color and texture to your shade garden. Now, Valentine's Day hopefully brings you all the warm fuzzies. So we have warm-hearted pink, and then there is a ruby camellia. So these are new from Proven Winners. They are coming out and we have them available. So these are going to be Sasanqua type camellias. Your warm-hearted pink and ruby, so there's two different ones, are going to be those fall blooming camellias, right? So that is what a Sasanqua is that it blooms in the fall. So it could just depend on your zone. These are hardy in zones 7B to 10, definitely for the south, as most camellias are. These are going to be in your part sun garden. So that means you could have morning sun, afternoon shade, or all day filtered sun. These are going to be some good size to them. Roughly the warm-hearted pink is going to be a little bit smaller in 10 to 12 feet tall by 8 to 10 feet wide. So these are going to be a good size. So if maybe you can use this as a specimen, or if you're looking to create a privacy screening between you and something else, then of course your camellias are evergreen. Your warm-hearted pink is going to give you clear pink flowers that have a yellow center to them. And then the warm-hearted ruby is going to be a double pinkish red bloom. So absolutely gorgeous. So the warm-hearted camellias, pink and ruby, love them because they're evergreen. They bring you some height to your garden, and of course, beautiful fall flowers. When everything else in the garden may be looking a little sad from a long, hot summer, not the warm-hearted camellias. And then next, she's an oldie but a goodie. Aphrodite sweet shrub. So of course, Aphrodite, she was the goddess of love, right? So Aphrodite sweet shrub is a beautiful, another big one, native shrub for your garden. It is hardy in zones 5 to 9, part to full sun, can absolutely handle the full sun. Like I said, this is a native shrub. It is deciduous, but you want Aphrodite in your garden because it produces these fragrant, continuous, because it blooms on new growth and old growth, ruby red, open saucer flowers. It is an absolute stunning plant, and it is a fast growing shrub as well. So Aphrodite sweet shrub, as its name suggests, is going to be a shrub. Like I said, it is a nice, fast grower. As far as maintenance, you're going to want to give it some room because it can be like a 10-foot by 10-foot, tall and wide. I have one in the back of the signature garden at the nursery. And so what I did is I did prune selectively it this past the end of the summer because I had some branches that were getting like really like out of proportion to the rest of the plant. So I just took those back, just maybe it was like 5 or 6 out of like 25 stems, right? To give it a nice rounded shape. Because it blooms on both old and new wood, yes, I lost a couple of flowers because I pruned selectively, but I will still get the blooms that from the old wood that happened last year on the ones I did not prune. And then, of course, because it blooms also on new wood, it will continuously produce those beautiful, fragrant flowers. Aphrodite, I'm telling you, if you've got room in your garden, you want this because the red flowers with those like kind of larger green leaves on it, just spectacular. And then some people like diamonds, some people like rubies. So we have Invincibelle ruby hydrangea. This is a smooth hydrangea, which is fantastic because I love it. It means you're going to guaranteed to get flowers every single year. Invincibelle ruby is hardy in zones 3 to 8, full to part sun, and this is going to be a color-specific hydrangea. So ruby, as its name suggests, is going to be a lovely, deep pink mauve. Wouldn't really call it red, more in the rich pink mauve with a little bit of reddish hues to it. Now, Invincibelle ruby is going to be a beautiful, like a 4x4 size, tall and wide. Like I said, it is a smooth hydrangea, so you're going to want to prune it every late winter going into spring, just like you would your panicle hydrangeas. For my folks, because it is hardy in zones 3 to 8, when I first grew Invincibelle ruby, and in my younger gardening days, and I didn't know better, I said, oh, well, it says full sun, so we put it in full sun. If you're in the South with the heat and the humidity, zones, I would even say zones 7 and 8, it cannot handle the full sun. Now, if you're in a much cooler climate, like if we go up an hour and a half up to the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina, then they absolutely could grow this in full sun. So this is where you have to be a student of your own garden and your own climate. So how I grow Invincibelle ruby, and she loves it, is that she gets morning sun or all day filtered sun, but a break from the hot afternoon. And even not being on a drop of irrigation, I do not supplement the water whatsoever. She is on the wood line right there at the creek. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So if you're in a similar climate like I am, hopefully those little tips will help you. But yes, Invincibelle ruby. I don't know. I enjoy a good, gemstone. So whether it's diamonds or rubies, I'm not going to be particular. I'll be happy with either one. And then we have Sweet Emotion. Sweet Emotion Blaze Abelia. Now, this is going to be a brand new Abelia from our friends at Proven Winners. Of course, Abelias are great shrubs tends to be historically more for the South. However, Sweet Emotion is going to kind of break a lot of those barriers that we think of as an Abelia. Because one, it is hardy in zones 4 to 8, so it is very cold tolerant. It is going to be a good size shrub because typically Abelias are nice and rounded and nice mounded, like a 3x3. Not Sweet Emotion Blaze. She's going to be like 6 feet tall and 5 feet wide. So this is going to be quite impressive, probably for more of the back of your garden. Full to part sun. And then why you're gonna want to add Sweet Emotion Blaze into your garden is because in the springtime, again, this is gonna be different than traditional Abelias. In the spring, it will produce fragrant pink flowers that your pollinators, of course, they are going to love, and you're going to love as well. And then in the fall, that foliage is going to turn beautiful shades of reds and yellows and oranges. So you get a nice different kind of transition throughout the seasons on your Sweet Emotion Blaze Abelia. So check that out. Then I think if you have a sweetie in your life, then you probably have little nicknames for each other. Well, mine for Jerry is Honey. And so here we have Supertunia Honey. So Honey is going to be a beautiful petunia. So it is going to be an annual. And the fun thing about Honey is that it is going to kind of give you a kaleidoscope of colors. Like it literally will change depending on the temperature, the amount of sunlight, and you are going to get all of these kind of like pink, yellow, sunset colors within the same plant on this Supertunia. Of course, Supertunias do love that full sun, so a minimum of 5 to 6 hours. Supertunia Honey will get to be about 12 inches tall and have a spread of about 36 inches. So Supertunia Honey will do fantastic in a hanging basket, in a container, any kind of pot. And because it is a Supertunia, it also will perform really well in the landscape. So if you've got a honey in your life, maybe give him Supertunia Honey for this summer. And then rounding out our list of 12 plants that has love in the garden is the Loves Me Not rose. That is right, my friends. So again, Valentine's Day, you got to have a rose on Valentine's Day, right? I love it. So Loves Me Not is going to be a hybrid tea rose. This is going to be hardy in zones 5 to 10, as roses do, full sun. So minimum of that 5 to 6 hours of sun. It can absolutely handle the 12 hours of sun in the summertime. This is going to be about 5 feet tall, 3 feet wide. And Loves Me Not is going to give you dramatic, right? I mean, Valentine's Day, very dramatic. Dramatic, deep pink, very full layered form blooms on it. And as I always say, if I'm going to go to the trouble of growing a rose, by golly, it better be pretty and it better have a lovely fragrance. Well, Loves Me Not, checking all the boxes because you're going to get a sweet fragrance that has my favorites is a little bit of gardenia, some lilac, and some pineapples for a little bit of fresh fruit fragrance in there. So Loves Me Not, beautiful, dramatic rose that will not only bring beauty, but fragrance to your garden. So I hope this has been fun, right? Again, you got to have fun in the garden. I would love it because I know that I have missed some probably fantastic plants that have very love-themed names because I can't think of them all. So if you have something that's a love-themed name plant, put it in the comments below. Let's just have some fun together, right? Because I don't know. I still say that whoever has the job of naming new plant introductions, one, that's going to be a lot of pressure, but two, oh my goodness, how much fun, because there seems to be a lot of kind of tongue in cheek out there in the plant world when they name these plants. So we would love it. Just throw those in the comments below. It'll be a lot of fun to see what everybody comes up with. So regardless if you have a honey or a sweetie in your life, just know that you are loved, you are cherished, and we hope that you have an amazing day. Go have fun in your garden. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.